I wanted to read this quote because I think it kind of leads into what the book really talks about, which is, him becoming president and being president for the first 4 years. He's actually going to write another one for his second term, which I assume he's working on now. But he says, "You don't choose the time chooses you. Either you seize what may turn out to be the only chance you have, or you decide you're willing to live with the knowledge that the chance has passed you by." And I think this theme runs throughout the book, is that there was just his life seemed to get swept up in this movement that he kind of created and rode the back of in some sort of like intermingled way where, he was kind of fueling it, but it was fueling him, and all of a sudden he's gone from like a senator in the Illinois Senate, which is really a dodgy place, away from his family, broke, huge student debts, troubled marriage, to riding Air Force One 12 years later, and making history.
Yeah, it's an incredible transformation, right? And just there's something they talk about and I feel like this applies in a lot of different places, and like in the markets, for example, people that particularly go for long-term investments, holds, in the crypto community they call it hodls. There's only a few like major points in the market where things really jump up quite a lot, and unless you're in the market at those particular points in time, then you kind of miss the boat. And I feel like this is pretty similar, although maybe the difference here is you probably have a little bit more insight on the opportunities. You probably have a little bit more tactical feel about when those moments are coming, because I'm almost going to say no one, but very few people in the world really know when that's happening in the market. So I think having a little bit of a guise on your own life and trying to have a little bit of awareness about what is actually happening around you, particularly as these big like sweeping waves come up around you, can change your life. And that's seen in that 4-year timeline between, and really, mate, it's less than 4-year timeline. It's kind of like a 1-year timeline, because it was almost like 1 year that he was non-existent political candidate. Then all of a sudden he was a political candidate and he was rallying huge crowds. And that was probably across the space of 12 months. And even after that, he's kind of shifted his entire life, even if he didn't probably become president,
Yeah, absolutely. You got to read the moment.
So maybe just on the moment, mate, for me, I had to kind of cast myself back, because this is 2007, 2008. By the time he's become president, and so that's quite a long time ago. And at that time, the iPhone, for example, like we're at bloody iPhone, I don't even know what number now, iPhone 12 or 11, and the iPhone had only just come out at this point in time. The GFC, global financial crisis, was in full swing. The Arab Spring was becoming, very much the big ISIS movement that we recognise. I can't remember when that big, that huge thing about, the ISIS in Syria and all that took place, but I think it was somewhere around then as well, or just after.
I think it was after, yeah, but, they're all kind of, it's certainly, that was the start of some instability in the region. Yeah.
And I'd say that like climate change was just a completely different word than, or, phrase than what it is today.
It was global warming back then.
Yeah, global warming. And then it's all the classic arguments about, oh, is it really rising or it's not rising? And anyway, I think we've moved on from that. And then something that really stuck out for me, mate, was he points out that there was like Confederate flags still on the state building in South Carolina, which seems just quite strange.
Yeah, it's weird.
So a very interesting, point in time, and it actually feels like quite a long time ago.
Yeah, well, it is. But even more so to your point about the fast-changing world we live in. So, but yeah, even in that first 4 years, to have to deal with the GFC as well as, say, all these other things that are happening in the world, it's pretty full on.